All right, so now it's time for the rubber to meet the road, and we're actually going to get started. You basically have three options. You can start from an existing account, meaning an account that you maybe have from the past or a past project or some sort of an account that you've worked on for a while, but maybe you're just not seeing the results that you want. And I'll go into when this actually would work and when it doesn't. But the second option is starting from scratch, meaning starting a brand new account. And I would recommend this strategy for probably 85% of you who are taking this course. And I'll go into the reasons of that. And then the third option would be to purchase or somehow accumulate an account that is already in the niche that you're looking for that has actual traction. So, an existing account. You should do this if the entire audience is already there following that very specific niche that you're looking for. And you should also do this if the account has some traction and isn't just completely dead, meaning you'll have to do CPR to revive this thing. You should not use an existing or old account if the audience is diluted. Even if you have 50,000 followers who are following something for a basketball page, and then you decide, oh, I have this audience, there's 50,000 people already. Now I'm going to start posting about motivational quotes. It's not going to work. That is absolutely never 100% not a good idea. Another reason that you should not use an existing account is if the account is just totally dead. The audience hasn't engaged with any content in the last 2 years. Maybe there have been no posts. Then I would say it's definitely not worth going with this route. Now, starting from scratch is a great idea for most people. And the reason I like this route, even though it's a little bit more challenging to get started, is because every follower that you get is there for the same reason from day one, meaning they're there to follow the specific niche that you're laying out for them with your content. And there's no confusion. They're not confused why you were gone for 2 years. They're not confused why now all of a sudden you're posting motivational quotes instead of basketball memes. There's no confusion. They're with you from day one and they're riding this wave that you're creating for them. And then the third reason is that they're growing with you. They're a part of this journey. The people who are your 10th follower or your 100,000th follower, they come into your journey and they become some sort of a fan that wants to see you and your account continue to grow and have success. And then finally, the fourth reason is that there are great growth hacking methods that I'm going to cover later on in this course that are super, super strong and can help you get that traction. I know it seems overwhelming to completely start from zero. And yes, it's not always easy to make happen right away, but this route is the best route for probably 85% of people. And I promise to do everything in my power for the rest of this course to help those of you who are doing this to see results as soon as possible. The last option is to buy an account. And I know not everybody has this option, but I definitely think that this concept is worth covering because all in all, at the end of the day, any asset that you're building, whether it's Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, any website, whatever, any online space is a piece of digital real estate. And for the remainder of this course, I want you to think about it that way. I'm going to be referring to it a lot as a digital asset. And what I mean by that is a piece of digital real estate. You own a sliver of this digital space online that is growing. And the reason that I compare it to real estate is because real estate, first off, I have a background from, it's an asset that can be bought, sold, and monetized. And it usually grows in value over time, except for when there's a recession. So when you're buying an account, I want you to think of that asset as a piece of digital real estate. It can be bought, it can be sold, it can be monetized with ads or digital products. It can be rented out kind of by advertisers. They're renting your audience for a day or whatever for when they post. And it grows in value over time as more followers and engagement come in. So for buying an account, if you have the money to do this, then I do recommend this route if and only if you can buy an account that is already niched exactly on the niche that you're looking for and you're able to get it for a good rate. There are some things to consider if you do decide to go this route. There are a lot of scammers in the online space, whether it be in crypto or digital assets or whatever. So I do just want to throw a beware out there. But you also need to find, like I said, an account that really matches that niche that you're looking for very specifically. And then the last thing is you need to understand if the engagement that is on that account is legitimate or not, because you don't want to buy an account that some guy created 2 weeks ago and bought a bunch of fake followers and fake likes and then really be holding a piece of crap that isn't able to do anything for you and you're not able to sell later on. And there are a lot of ways to figure out if something is real or not. If this is something in a route that you're deciding or contemplating over, I highly, highly recommend that you book a call with me on my website, because this is kind of an advisory thing that if you haven't done it before, it's very easy for it to not end up working. And there's a lot of ways that you're able to measure and determine whether an account is a good idea, a good value, a good price, or not. So if you do decide to buy an account, where are some places that you're able to find that? And one of those websites is called FameSwap. This is what the website looks like. You're basically able to come into the browse category and start looking at accounts. You can search for them by the niche that they're in, by the amount of followers that they have. You can click into the account and you can basically see the engagement that they have, how many likes they get per post, comments, etc. Hopefully you're able to see the name and you can actually go look for yourself and verify some of those statistics that are being said here. And then you just go in and you send them a message asking for more insights and start to get to know the person before deciding whether or not you want to buy. Another great website is called Flippa. It's a little bit more complicated and more specific towards like online businesses than accounts specifically, but you'll be able to find some good opportunities on there as well. And then the last way, and probably the best way for the best bang for your buck, is to just do organic outreach, meaning you're reaching out to accounts that you see in your niche that are very specific, that have good engagement, and you message them and just say, hey, would you be open to potentially selling your account? And then from there, kind of start the negotiation and vetting process. Like I said, if you do need help with this, feel free to book an advisory call with me on my website. I really wouldn't recommend trying to figure this out on your own because it's happened to so many people I know as I've gotten to know people over the years online of either getting scammed or paying way too much money for an account that doesn't deliver the results that they want. And they don't have the right strategy when they do buy it on how to keep it up or kind of switch over the niche or branding a little bit. There's a lot of variables in there. And I've done this several times. So I just want to throw that option out there. Because it'll help probably save you a lot of time, headache, and money if you do decide to go this route. So regardless of which way you move forward, whether it's starting from an existing account, starting from scratch, or buying an account, you're going to need to do some account setup. And the first thing is to kind of figure out your name. Most of the great names on Instagram have been taken, and they've been taken for a very long time. So you kind of got to get creative in today's climate. And one of the best ways that I've found to do this is to come to a cool tool called Namelix. Basically, it's a website where you drop in some keywords about the niche or the business idea that you have, and it'll spit out a ton of different names that are related to that niche and are very creative. And so let's just say you decide that you like this name. You can then come over to a tool called instausername.com, which is an Instagram handle checker. You're able to see whether or not this is there and available or not, or if somebody's already been using it. And you just type it in and you can see whether it's taken. This one for example, is taken, but we can come back to Namelix. We can choose another one that we like and we bring it over and boom, this one is free. So then I would go into Instagram, set up an account, start it with this name, this username, and we're off to the races. Once you go through all that basic setup, you need to make a decision on whether you're going to have a creator or a business account. And there are some pros and cons to each. At the end of the day, in my personal opinion, this doesn't really matter. You're actually able to toggle between the two and you won't lose any of your insights if you do. But some of the basic kind of standouts of differentiators between these two is that creators have the option to have paid partnership tags. They have a dashboard with all their insights, which the business ones do too. There's a couple different features within, but again, not a crazy deal breaker. And then for whatever reason, creators have a secondary inbox where they can kind of put personal relationships and then kind of like business opportunities or a general mailbox. And then business accounts are able to have more third-party plugins. So let's say you want to have like a scheduling tool or something like that to measure your insights a little bit better. And they're also able to set up kind of additional contact buttons, meaning like auto responses. So if somebody DMs you, it can kind of say, hey, thanks for contacting, blah, blah, blah. We're going to get back to you shortly. We appreciate your interest. I wouldn't overthink this decision. You can toggle back and forth super easily. And at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter that much. Another one that doesn't matter too much is your account branding. And a lot of people spend way too much time on this part of deciding their Instagram account and moving forward. At the end of the day, most people don't really care about your logo. I would just say that once you decide on some sort of a logo, try to keep it consistent so that people, when they see your little story at the top of their feed, they know that's you and they can click in and know what to expect coming from it. If you switch it up too often, it'll just confuse people and they'll be like, what is this account? Like, why am I following it? So when you are creating your branding, I'd say that the easiest route is to just go into Canva. There's a free and a very cheap paid version where you can go in and just search any keyword for what you're looking for. Let's say you want like a dragon or something. It'll come up and you can use that as your profile picture. A more difficult route, but is honestly, in my opinion, kind of worth the headache, is doing something on Midjourney or Leonardo. The account that I grew to over 100,000 followers in 30 days, I just went into Midjourney and typed in artificial intelligence mind, and it came up with this really nice profile picture that I think stands out from, most people's followed feed of contacts. And then the most expensive version, and honestly not worth it way, in my opinion, is to go and hire somebody to create something. Most of the artists are not going to be able to figure out what you have in your mind and your vision. I would way recommend going in and trying to figure it out in a Canva or a Midjourney or a Leonardo on your own. So finally, guys, we've wrapped up this first module, and I have some action items for you if you haven't already started them. I'm assuming probably most of you have finished the content for this module first. But the first thing is you need to choose a niche, and please use that niche definition worksheet, the Ikagi guide, and really decide on who your audience is going to be and what kind of content they want to be seeing. The second action item for you is to decide on your starting point. So reviving an old account, using an existing account that maybe hasn't been getting a ton of traction, or starting from scratch, or trying to figure out how to buy an account that has really good traction already. The third action item for you is to name and brand your account moving forward. The fourth action item is just to set up your account, your creator, your business profile, and start understanding some of those insights and how to use it all. The next module is probably my favorite. It is the Instagram Algorithm 101. It's what currently works today. It's how you can use all the tools and information that I've learned over the last 5 years to really apply it and propel your content to become that follower magnet that we're talking about and get as much reach as possible. So you don't have to waste a bunch of time throwing crap at a wall and trying to figure out what sticks. So figure out these action items, and I will see you guys in the next module.